In the Middle Ages, the homemade ale Britons enjoyed tasted very different from modern beers. It was sweet, unhopped, and brewed almost exclusively by women. Brewing was one of the most common professions for women, who are often known as brewsters or alewives. It's believed that a third of women in villages were brewing ale for sale. Women learnt the techniques from their mothers and aunts. It passed down in the female line. But this dominance was not to last.
Come in!
Beer writer Jane Peyton.
Hello, Mistress Goodman.
Tells me the change began with some early consumer protection legislation.
In 1266, King Henry III passed a law, the assize of bread and ale. So he appointed ale conners. These were male inspectors who went round all the places selling ale, and they would test the quality, and if they found it to be bad quality, or if the alewife was overcharging for that ale, then they could be punished.
The homes of female brewsters became known as public houses, or pubs. But opening their homes up like this also exposed the women to criticism.
You might become suspicious of them. You know, are they overcharging me? Are they putting nasty things into the ale? It's easy to vilify somebody and to give them a bad reputation.
Do we have any examples of this hostility, then?
Well, a really good example is a poem that was written by King Henry VIII's poet laureate, and it talks about a alewife, Eleanor Rumming, and the way she's described
Yes.
is really insulting. She is ugly fair, her nose sumdell hooked, and famously crooked.
It's really not a nice image, is it, at
Really
all?
isn't.
Despite the ridicule, alewives continued to brew on a small scale, until our game-changing ingredient arrived.
What changed everything was the introduction of hops.
Historians think hops were introduced to Britain from Belgium in the 15th century. At the time, the unhopped brew made by alewives went off within a day or so. It was soon discovered that hopped beer lasted far longer.
This was a revolution, and this is where the schism between the male brewers and the female brewers starts to come in, hops.
Hopped beer could be brewed in bigger batches, making production more profitable.
Men get interested in brewing when it gets a bit more lucrative.
Yes, you could say that. And also brewing on a big scale in factories, basically, where women didn't work outside the home normally.
Right, so it's going to be easier for a man to set up as a commercial brewer. So this really is the great reason for the divide, for the change from brewing as a female activity to brewing as a male activity.
Yes, and the irony is that these are the female part of the hop plant.
To alewives.
To alewives.